bring you back for the first round of the FA Cup. It's been pretty good with the form off camera, if I say so myself. Today is a challenge against a Sky Bet League 2 opposition that aren't necessarily performing well in the league. So we should have a chance to be able to move into the second round of the FA Cup. So as you can see from where we picked off last time, so we beat, which was top of the league at the time, 2-0. Of course, I then went and done the FA fourth qualifying round of the FA Cup off camera. We saw all of those last season, so I didn't think I would bring you back for that. And then played a couple of games off camera, as I said we would. We went on and beat Barnet 1-0. We beat Isley 5-1, beat Woking 2-0, and then we lost 1-0 to Tamworth, who were pretty much bottom of the league. The story of our whole career here at Oxford. We beat the teams that are typically above us or around us in the table, and we struggle against the lower ranking opposition, so to speak. But what that does to the league table is we are actually sitting in second after 16 games played. We are still the best defensive team in the league. We've only conceded 8 goals all season. We're sitting on 31 points. Remember, we was just dibbed to finish pretty much rock bottom of the table or here or thereabouts in terms of these 3 positions here. And so far, we are completely proving the doubters wrong and just proving if you are a good team in the National League, North or South, arguably you can do it in the National League. It's just how the pyramid system works that a lot of good teams in the North and South can get sort of stuck in them divisions. But of course, we are on a good rebuild. A lot of the players that we brought in are of this quality or higher, and I'll show you a few of those as we go on through the game. But like I said, I'll bring us back today with the game against Harrogate in the English FA Cup first round. Harrogate are currently sitting 17th in League 2, so it's definitely a game that we can go on and win. In terms of the starting 11, pretty much the same as what we saw in the last games. We've got right in goal, a defensive Pinnington, Johnson, Sakara and Ruddy, Campbell and Ashby, Clark, Mellor and Boswell. Why is it not showing my striker? Game? Oh, there we go. And G in the central striker role. Reason why we're playing Ruddy is because I don't want to just overload the youngster with games. He needs to develop. He still needs to train well, which he has been. He's always consistently giving us 9s in terms of training. Annoyingly, Dundee United are also interested in him in a potential transfer as well. So who knows? Which means he could go in January, right? But that's why we bought in Skara just in case. So then we have got Ruddy. And of course, we have got Francis, who can play at left back as well. Dropping Macclesfield down to the bench for this game, just obviously letting some of the newer boys get an actual start out. We're playing more of our stronger attacking force, if you like. Macclesfield, of course, is always going to be our first choice centre attacking midfielder, but I feel like he just needs to have a little bit of a rest and maybe can have more of an impact off the bench in this game. Comes on at half time, 60 minutes. He's going to be fresh. He's going to be hungry to prove his point. So we're going to go out to the boys and just say it's very important to make advantage of our home form. You know, it's become a fortress of late. We're doing very well in the league. We are playing against a higher standing of opposition, but they're not performing well in League 2. And it's definitely a game that, in my opinion, is winnable as long as we turn up and play the way that we know we can play. Got to get some early encouragement out for the boys. Of course, there may be a few players that are being a little bit apprehensive playing a team of a higher standing than us, but if we play the way that we can play, we know we can win. Boswell into Ruddy here, connecting nicely. Sakara, Johnson, Campbell in that half-back position. I do love him there. Mellor's through. Oh, takes a long shot, hits a crossbar. That would have been some goal. Back into Mellor. Skara. Just a nice build-up here. We're just taking our time. We're not rushing it. We don't need to rush it. And that's the end of the highlight. But we come very close by hitting the crossbar there. We was unlucky that it just wasn't a few inches lower and really wanted to test the goalkeeper. Try and test him early. Make him know that he's in for a game this afternoon. But 12 minutes played. 0-0. In terms of the stats, pretty fair, to be honest. Pretty equal. And again, this is important for us if we are... I mean, I might be getting ahead of ourselves. But if we are going to go up this season, it's a good idea of sort of the teams maybe at the lower end of the league, Sky Bet League 2, that we may be playing against in our sort of mini league. Mellor's in again. Oh, just hasn't got his shooting boots on just yet. Disappointed that G's not been making any sort of forward runs in behind. I'm going to change him to a centre forward rather than a channel forward. I want him to be able to feed off of Mella rather than sort of running out wide or making runs that, yes, it's creating space for Mella, but G is going to be the more natural striker. And potentially he's going to do better with them chances. G goes hit the ball, does well with the header. Mella into Clark. Clark coming on in off the wing that he loves. Tests the goalkeeper and it goes out for a corner, of course. We're not going to see it though, because we never see our corners. But in terms of the loanees that we've brought in, obviously with G, am I overly impressed with him? He's been doing okay. He's been doing the job. But I feel like Mella is more prolific in that striker position with McEachran just behind. But I don't want to not give him a good run of games and it just sort of, you know, fall off a cliff in terms of his confidence and his form. We can keep him sort of simmering in the background, let's say, on the bench. We know we've got an option that can change the game. And just like that, Miller, G's in. I was going to say Miller's in. G's in, chips the goalkeeper. Luckily for him, it hit the right side of the crossbar. Let's just watch that again. The centre-back's just not reading it properly. But G gets the ball, little cheeky touch and then a chip over the top. And luckily for him, hits the crossbar and goes into the back of the net. So 1-0 up, 35 minutes played. Are we putting our hat into the second round of the FA Cup? Here's hoping we do, because again, we drew the first round at home, which again isn't terrible. It'll be a sellout. We've had the stadium expansion from where we got promoted within the rules of the actual National League. But if we can get a nice cheeky away tie to a good level of opposition, nice big ground, get them gate receipts in, that's really going to help the finances of the club. That was a very good performance in the first half. Keep it up. Not going to change anything yet. We will keep an eye on Boswell. He's the only one who seems to be tiring, but he has played an awful lot of football for us. Clark has sort of fought his way back into the starting 11 with some of the performances he's had, whereas Bierney, bringing him on, he's not really made too much of a difference. He actually wanted the larger contract out of him and Clark. So it might be that we have to sell Bierney in January if he's not really making an impact that we want him to do. But we do need to make sure we stay solid at the back, and which we know we can be. We haven't gone and only conceded 8 goals this season by not being solid at the back. I like to make sure I build that foundation, be solid, and then we let our attackers just basically have free-flowing play up front and obviously getting us the goals. We might consider swapping G and Miller around in a bit and bringing McEachran on. Campbell there into Ashby, Boswell. Boswell's a solo run. Doesn't even test the keeper, unfortunately for us. I think we'll make some change. Yeah, let's make some changes. G's not... He's playing really well, though, to be fair, G. So I'm not actually going to take him off. Maybe we'll bring McEachran on. Play him as like an inside winger. Still get him to track, because I want that, obviously, extra bit of tracking there. Manialiki, did he come on? I mean, he's already knackered, so probably not. I think that's the only change we're going to make right now. Everything else is playing pretty much as we want it to. Let's praise the boys. If we get to about 75 minutes, they want us to do low crosses, the assistant manager. Again, this is why I should have replaced that assistant manager after the end of last season. I don't really think he knows what he's talking about. We've got a striker who flourishes on scoring headed goals. He's a target forward really by trade, and we're playing him as a centre forward. Why we would do low crosses, I guess maybe to appease the wingers and Mella, but for me, I think I'm just going to leave it as it is. It's obviously not worked. Right now we're 1-0 up, but we have got a highlight here against us. Oh, really fantastic bit of play. Intercepts it well. Lovely little cheeky pass into McEachran. Lovely ball over. There's G. Can he get in behind? He can again. Come on. 2-0 up. And that might be the goal from G that cements our name in the second round of the English FA Cup. Could we go all the way? Who knows? Who knows? I mean, we might be getting ahead of ourselves again, like we said earlier, but you never know. A one-off game, and I've got the confidence that these boys can beat anyone. McEachran's in behind. Oh, he scores again. It's too easy. It's too easy. We'll take off some of our more tired players now. We'll bring on Adialiki. Adialiki? Manialiki. And should we take Clark off? Oh, we can only make 3 subs in the FA Cup, can't you? So, no, we will not be making any other subs. But 3-0 up, 80 minutes played. And this just proves my point that a strong National League side can go toe-to-toe. Well, we're humiliating them, but can go toe-to-toe with a lower positioning league bet. Sky Bet League 2 team. I can't get my words out. I'm excited that we'll be going in to the second round of the FA Cup as things go. As long as we don't capitulate from here, which, I mean, you know, Sadio Mane scored a hat-trick in 3 minutes before, right? But there we go. 3-0 win. Well-deserved. A very good performance. And that's about as good as you will see. In terms of what the plan will be moving forward and what we'll see next, I will skip it forward until we see who we've got in the second round. If that's sort of around here, I might skip it up to that so we can see the second round of the FA Cup. Alternatively, what I might do is bring you back for either FC Halifax, Yeovil, or maybe York, because that would be a top of the table clash potentially, depending on how the form's going. But it'll be one of these 3 games that I bring you back for, subject to obviously who we find out that we've got in the second round. So just bringing you back ever so quickly. So as you can see, we have drawn Notts County in the second round of the FA Cup, sitting 10th in Sky Bet League 2. So we just knocked out a Sky Bet League 2 team, so there's no fear going into the game. Of course, they are performing better than what Harrogate... Was it Harrogate? Harrogate? We beat them so badly, I've already forgotten who we played in the last round. But let's have a look. 20,000 all-seater stadium. Okay. So there could be some very nice gate receipts coming our way, whether we win, lose or draw. In terms of the plan on bringing you back, the Notts County game won't actually be until the 5th of December. So the plan will be to skip over a couple of these games, probably bring you... Where's that Macclesfield game come from? Because it was Yeovil and York after Halifax. I guess that must have been a rearranged... Ah, it would have been rearranged because the FA Cup. I mean, that doesn't do good for our fixture congestion, does it? We've got a Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Saturday. There. Probably bring you back to the Macclesfield game then. They were the guys who just pipped us to the title last season. And of course, we want to get a little bit of extra revenge on them by doing so. So the plan will be, I'll play the Morecambe game, Accrington game, and FC Halifax game off camera and bring you back for the Macclesfield game. As you can see, since we beat Harrogate 3-0, we've drawn and lost. So we drew 0-0 away from Morecambe, drew 0-0 against FC Halifax, and unfortunately lost 2-1 to Accrington. So we'll bring us back to the Macclesfield game. Reason why we're coming back to this, of course, they beat us for the title last season, as we said a little bit earlier on. So I thought it was only right to bring us back here and see if we can get a little bit of revenge. As we can see, Mella unfortunately picked up an injury over those games and is going to be out for the next 3 to 6 weeks with a moderate hamstring strain, which is bad news overall for us because, of course, we want our best players to be able to play. It does mean that Macclesfield does get a longer run out in the squad. Now, one player I do want to rest is Tate Campbell. He is absolutely knackered. Problem is, with that halfback, it gives us that more defensive security, which Manialiki doesn't really do. He's more better at sort of surging forward, but Ashby has been putting in performances to not shy him away from a box-to-box and a pressing defensive midfielder role. But other than that, it pretty much still picks itself apart from the odd changes from the injuries. We've got Wright in goal, Pinnington, Johnson, Skara and Ruddy in defence, Aliki and Ashby in the holding midfield roles, Clark, McEachran and Boswell in our attacking midfielder roles, with G up front. As you can see, the squad fitness is not really there. The matches are coming sort of fast and thick, as we saw earlier in the fixture schedule. We're obviously getting through to the FA Cup second round. It has moved a few games around and we've been playing Saturday, Tuesday, but that is just something we have to deal with in this league. I'm going to say this is our chance to exact some revenge on Macclesfield, because of course, if you do cast our eyes back to the first season, they did actually obviously beat us in the last game that we played. And I mean, they beat us for the title, right? So if we can't go out and do a job against these now and prove why we were the opponent, I suppose, or better opposition, I guess, in the league, then what else are we here to do? Of course, in terms of obviously that league form, it has meant that we've dropped down the league ever so slightly. We are currently sitting in 5th, and I'll show you that when it brings up the live league table in a moment. But I want us to get back to a couple of winning ways here. I say that far too early, don't I? 3 minutes in and we're 1-0 down. I want us to get back to winning ways. I feel like a few of the players, it's that typical FM thing, right? We've got a big game coming up against Notts County in the FA Cup second round. The players have got their eyes on that. We're not performing the way that we usually perform. We're not being free-flowing and we're not scoring like we have done. So, is it a problem with us and our tactic? Absolutely not. We know the type of performance we can do. Is it excitement for what's coming up probably in the fixture schedule more recently or in the future, shall I say? Most certainly. The players are definitely looking one eye further forward than they are on the job at hand. But of course, they've got to remember they're not performing in these games. It doesn't mean they're necessarily going to start against Notts County. And the Macclesfield there is a prime example of that. I mean, he is lucky that Mellor's out injured, but a few times we've seen him now either pick up the ball and just get dispossessed straight away, or passes unfortunately just aren't paying off. So maybe he's sort of reached his level of where we're going to sort of take him, and unfortunately it might be that if we do go up, or even in the summer potentially, he may need to be replaced, which is heartbreaking to say as he's been influential in our campaign so far. But of course, as we grow as a team, no player is bigger than the team, and it does mean that there will need to be replacements brought in as time goes on. But we've got obviously Macclesfield in front of us here, still losing 1-0. Clark here into McEachran. Is he going to prove me wrong? Prove the doubters wrong? He does. Sets up Ashby, puts it to him on a plate, and Ashby tucks it away nicely. And don't forget, Ashby as well was meant to be more of a fringe player this season. But with Manialiki really dropping off the mark and obviously off the boil, he's stepped up massively. And he is still young, Ashby, I believe. Actually, no, that's not Ashby. The other, Tom Scott, is young and he's out on loan. But Ashby is someone who can still make an impact in this squad, as he's proven. And to have Manialiki on the bench and have that, I mean, that's awful from G, just run straight into him. Having that experience on the bench with Manialiki, especially if we want to see out a result, bringing him on in a more holding midfield role, especially when Tate Campbell is fully fit and not really a big injury risk. My thoughts behind not having Campbell playing this game is because he is at a high or a very high injury risk and needs a rest. And I'd rather not have him for this game and still have him for the Notts County game. You know, if we play him now, he picks up an injury. He's still one of our best holding midfielders, which is going to be heartbreaking if he obviously misses out against Notts County. I'm going to say I think we've been unlucky. I don't think we've done anything specifically wrong here. I'm going to say to them all that, you know, they weren't that bad. Keep going. They can make the difference today. Remember, we really like to just get behind the players, be that shoulder that they can cry on, but also celebrate with when we do, in the end, obviously pull up a win. It might be time to bring Westendorf back into the fold as well at some point. With Mellor now being injured, he can't sort of move forward into that striker role if G is getting fatigued or if G picks up a bit of a knock. So Westendorf may be coming back into the fold over the next couple of games, which some of you may love, some of you may despise after his performances last season. But let's encourage the boys again, especially because we don't want G to pick up any form of injury. Let's get him off, actually. Put Westendorf on. Also get Boswell off and put on Bierney. Anyone else? We've got this youngster who can always come on as a sort of replacement for McEachran for a while. The problem is I don't want to bring Tate Campbell on, but Ashby is also starting to get knackered, which is not ideal. But let's see if Westendorf can right the wrongs of last season. I say right the wrongs. He ended on about 23 league goals, but it was just so inconsistent, as we saw. 1 minute he was on fire, the next minute he wouldn't do anything for about 5 games. Westendorf here, though, proves me wrong. Fair play to him. I'm surprised he didn't run over and celebrate in my face. Jack Bierney and Westendorf, two of the OGs, linking up nicely. And look, he actually jumped. He obviously made some work on that in the summer. Realised, actually, the gap was right. If I jump more, I'll score more goals. If I make an effort, I might be able to be a player here. I might be able to solidify a place in the starting 11. And to be fair to him, he will be knocking on the door, especially if G obviously carries on getting fatigued. Remember, he's still very young, G. He's only 18 years old. So we have asked him to play an awful lot of football over the last few weeks and last few months. It is going to be something that we need to keep an eye on. But of course, we need to stay defensively solid as we are. We don't want to now get the lead and then be pegged back to 2-2. Let's right these wrongs of the last few games and just get a win under the belt. Of course, because we want that confidence going back into the Notts County game, right? We had the confidence going in against Harrogate Town. Yes, they were near the bottom of League 2, but we was flying high. And McKeitrin again, what a loose ball. Disappoint. That's not what you want to see. The whole point is that I didn't want to play Campbell. Well, it looks like the youngster, Kennedy Jr. Baptiste, is going to be coming on. He's not a very good centre defensive midfielder. He much prefers to play in that CAM or CM role, but we are going to have to do what we can do. We're going to change him to a deep line playmaker because he does play a little bit better there. What we will do then is drop Anialiki into a more defensive role. This is the problem. And again, we're getting doubly FM'd now because, of course, we're getting injuries left, right and centre. We'll take Johnson off for Francis. Do we take Pennington off for Burrows? I suppose that gives us a little bit more solidity at the back because he's a better fullback. We are going to drop them back as well. Let's just say solid here. I would love to bring him on, but A, I've used all my subs now, and B, I don't want to risk him. Ashby being out injured, though, is disappointing, especially as we were praising him at the start of the episode. And at the start of this video, start of this match, it's just typical, isn't it? FM listens to you, I'm sure they do. Oh, this player is really good, and I really hope they don't get injured. Oh, they're off. Full injury, needs to be substituted off, and yeah, best of luck with that. Thank you very much, is basically what the game have said. But let's just see this out now. 1 minute of extra time, well, 5 minutes, but 1 minute left. And there we go. We've got a little bit of revenge over Macclesfield as well, which is very nice. In terms of the league table, it puts us back up to third. So 20 games played, won 10, drawn 6, lost 4, goal difference of 20. That's really helping us, and that will help towards the end of the season if it is very tight. I mean, playoffs were never an objective as ours, but maybe we might be saying actually they will be an objective of ours. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. It does help a lot more than you know. Leave a comment down below as well, just with regards to your general thoughts on the squad. Let's get a little bit of interaction going with regards to who you think our star players are. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're new around here to carry on the journey. And if you haven't done so and you're just finding this video through the algorithm, and don't forget to check out the last episodes from last season. Of course, we obviously mounted a title challenge, but then ended up going up in the playoffs. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.